We're here today with Dan Woolery on Soozal, the King 40, and it's the last day of Big Boat Series racing. Dan, you had a great showing so far. You're on the top of the leaderboard in IRCC, and this boat's just clocked a lot of wins. Tell us a little bit about some of the other regattas you've been involved with and how that's gone for you.
Okay, very good. Well, actually, this week of racing here at St. Francis for us started back in November when we received the boat from Buenos Aires in Florida. And Scott Eastman and I began the third week in November, frantically putting the boat together right out of the box. And our first target was to get a crew from Northern California, again keeping in mind the culmination of all of this was the Big Boat Series. So we wanted Northern California crew and guys that we knew. So we put together our crew, and our first regatta was at Key West, and we had no idea about how well we were going to do at Key West, except do the best that we could, and sure enough, we did do well in Key West, won that regatta, and learned a lot about the boat in the process. And next regatta was down to Montego Bay, an ocean race under PHRF, and we were fortunate enough to win our division in that as well. And then back at Miami Acura, we finished that up with another successful regatta in Miami. And the next event was to get the boat back out here to California, ship it across the country, and began racing the IRC Summer Series, really with the sole intent of not really going after the series, but just keeping our crew together to practice again for Big Boat Series.
That's great. And right now you're vying for the U.S. IRC National Championship. How's that looking for you?
To be honest with you, we're not thinking about the championship. We're thinking about our division. And we have no clue how they're really going to come out on the scoring for the national championship. Of course, we'd love to win it. But our first goal, right away, Paramount, is to win our division, which is extremely competitive.
Yeah, tell us about that. You got some interesting boats in the mix.
There are interesting boats in the mix, new boats, old boats, and that is what's so keen about IRC, is that the older boats can get an old age allowance and are very IRC specific in a lot of cases, and it does make it interesting. Here we are, a brand new boat, still having to sail as hard as we can to try to beat some of the older boats, and isn't that what sailboat racing should be all about?
Are these your conditions? We're going to have more of the same today, out of the southwest, 10 to 20 variable?
That's kind of what we think, but it's been very unusual weather for San Francisco Bay this year. Typically it's windy all over the place, and it hasn't been that way this year. We had a start a couple days ago in 25 knots of wind over off TI, only to come into 8 knots of wind on the city front. That's very unusual for San Francisco Bay Day. So who knows what we'll get today with this crazy tropical storm that's kind of going by.
Well, you got the Bay Tour today, so your crew gets to see all the sights of San Francisco. And we just want to wish you good luck, and we'll see you tonight when it's all said and done.
Very good.
Thanks so much, Dan.
You bet.